Level 1, the recruit. You're 18. You didn't stumble into this. You applied. It's 1935. Germany is moving fast. Unemployment is down. Uniforms are everywhere. The SS isn't just an organization, it's an identity. Black collar, silver runes, the feeling that you've been chosen out of millions. The selection process takes months. They measure your skull. They check your teeth. They trace your bloodline back to 1750, searching for any Jewish ancestry. One wrong name in your family tree and you're out. You pass every test. That fact alone changes something in you. Basic training is at Dachau, not yet as a prisoner, as a guard. You watch the men on the other side of the wire. Your trainers tell you they are enemies of the state, criminals, degenerates. You believe it because believing it is easier than the alternative. Your first month, you stand at a post for 10 hours. You don't speak, you don't ask questions. You learn the first rule of the SS. Discipline is not obedience. It is the absence of hesitation. Level 2, the camp guard. You're 20. You've been assigned to a concentration camp. The camp holds political prisoners, criminals, and Jews. You patrol the perimeter at dawn. The cold is sharp. The prisoners move in gray columns. They don't make eye contact. You've been told not to make it either. A prisoner stumbles during roll call. Your supervisor strikes him with a baton. Once, twice. The column doesn't flinch. That night in the barracks, no one mentions it. Silence is the system's first language. 3 weeks in, you're ordered to take part in a punishment detail. A prisoner tried to escape. He didn't get far. You're one of 8 guards assembled in the yard. The order is given. You follow it. You don't sleep well that night. By the 3rd week, you sleep fine. The mind adapts. That is perhaps the most frightening thing you will ever learn about yourself. Not that you did it, but how quickly it stopped feeling wrong. Your efficiency reports improve. You receive a commendation. You're told you have potential. Level 3, the SS-Unterscharführer. You're 23. You've been promoted to junior squad leader. You now command 6 men. You allocate work details. You maintain order during morning counts. You sign off on disciplinary reports. Your signature for the first time moves things. One of your men hesitates during a forced labor assignment. He doesn't refuse. He just slows down. You notice. You write it in the report. You don't know what happens to him after his reassignment. You don't ask. There's a new prisoner in your block, a professor from Berlin. He's 55 years old and wears glasses held together with wire. He carries himself with a dignity that irritates your superiors. You are told to break that. You understand the assignment. At home on leave, your mother serves dinner. She asks about your work. You tell her it's administrative. She nods. You eat. The conversation moves on. You understand something on the drive back. The uniform doesn't just protect you from the outside world. It protects the outside world from what you're becoming. Level 4, the SS-Hauptsturmführer. You're 28. You've been promoted to captain. You're no longer at the camp. You're at a desk in Berlin. Clean office, real coffee, a secretary who calls you Herr Hauptsturmführer. You process transfer orders, logistics, rail schedules, resource allocation, numbers on paper, names reduced to columns. You attend a briefing. A senior officer presents a map. Eastern Europe, dots and arrows. He uses the word Sonderbehandlung. Special treatment. Everyone in the room understands what it means. You sign 40 documents that afternoon. Each one moves people. You don't see where they go. That is, you realize, entirely by design. The system is built so that no single hand holds the full picture. Guilt, like paperwork, is distributed. A colleague gets drunk at a dinner and says too much. He's transferred within the week. No arrest, no accusation. Just a reassignment to the Eastern Front, where the winters are fatal and the life expectancy is short. You learn from this. You are careful with your words. You are reliable. You are rewarded. Level 5, the SS-Sturmbannführer. You're 33, you're sent east, Poland, Ukraine. The war is expanding, and the SS is expanding with it. You command a unit now. Real operations, not paperwork. Your unit's job is to secure newly occupied territory. What that means in practice takes you 1 week to understand and a lifetime to unsee. The villages are quiet when you arrive. By the time you leave, they're quieter still. You write your reports in the approved language. Pacification, elimination of hostile elements, security operations. The words are technical, bloodless. They carry no weight. That's why they were invented, not to describe what happens, but to replace it with something you can file in a cabinet. The operations follow a pattern. Your unit moves in. Local authorities are dismissed or shot. Residents are assembled in the town square. Lists are read. Groups are separated. You have done this 11 times across 4 months. You have stopped counting the faces. One of your sergeants breaks down after a village in the Lublin district. He can't stop shaking at the dinner table. His hands won't still. You send him to the rear for medical evaluation. He's diagnosed with Kriegsneurose, war neurosis. He never returns to active duty. You don't break down. You consider this strength. You tell yourself the difference between you and him is discipline, commitment, character. Later, much later, you will understand the difference was something else entirely. That some part of you had already decided, long before Lublin, long before Poland, long before the uniform, that certain people were worth less. The training didn't install that belief. It simply gave it permission. You received the Iron Cross, second class. Your photograph appears in a regional SS newsletter. You look strong, confident, chosen. You keep the clipping in your breast pocket for weeks. Level 6, the SS-Obersturmbannführer. You're 38, you're back in Germany, senior administration. You know everything now, not because anyone told you, because the documents cross your desk, because the rail manifests come through your office, because you've been east, because you've read the Einsatzgruppen reports with their precise tallies and tidy columns, because you attended the Wannsee Conference summary briefing in January 1942 and sat in a heated room drinking good coffee while men in suits discussed the murder of 11 million people as a logistics problem. Debating train schedules the way other men debate budgets. You did not object, neither did anyone else. You have a home in a quiet suburb of Munich. Your wife tends a garden. Your son, 9 years old, collects stamps. He has a Hungarian set he's particularly proud of. On Sunday afternoons, 3 of you walk along the river. Couples pass. Children throw bread to the ducks. It is a good life, a normal life, and it is built on something you do not name, not even inside your own head, because naming it would require you to hold it still long enough to look at it directly. You have become very skilled at not doing that. The war's turning. 1943, Stalingrad. The mood in headquarters is different now, quieter. Men who once spoke about final victory now speak about sacrifice and duty and holding the line. The toasts at dinner are shorter, the laughter less certain. You notice who stops showing up to meetings. You say nothing. You are meticulous about your records, precise, thorough. Then, one evening in late 1944, with the Allied advance in the west and the Soviet advance in the east closing like a vice, you sit at your desk and begin to be meticulous about which records survive. You burn the first file yourself. You tell no one. Your hands are steady. Level 7, the accused. You're 42. The war's over. The Americans found you in a farmhouse outside Salzburg. You were wearing a civilian coat over your SS uniform. You gave a false name, a farmer's name. It bought you 4 days before a former camp prisoner identified you in a displaced persons line 3 kilometers away. They put you in a holding facility. Cold concrete, a single bulb. You have not eaten properly in 6 days. You think about your son. You don't know where your wife is. You think about the farmhouse you almost escaped to in Argentina. At the tribunal and in the trials that follow, prosecutors present documents, rail manifests, transfer orders, duty rosters, Einsatzgruppen field reports with your initials in the margin. Your signature appears 214 times across 31 separate documents. They display them on a board, one by one, slowly so the court can absorb each one. Your defense argues you were following orders, that you had no knowledge of the full scope, that the system was designed so that no single individual held complete responsibility, that guilt, distributed widely enough, ceases to belong to any one man. All of this is partially true. You believe parts of it yourself. None of it is enough. The court is not moved. You think about the professor with the wire-held glasses. You think about the sergeant shaking at the dinner table in Lublin. You think about your son collecting stamps on Sunday afternoons while you sign the schedules that move the trains. You are sentenced to 20 years. You serve 11. Good behavior. You are released in 1956 and settle in a small town in Bavaria. You do not speak publicly about what you did. You attend church. You tend a garden. You're a polite neighbor. You die in 1987 at the age of 74. Your obituary describes you as a veteran and a devoted family man. It does not mention the 214 signatures. The archive does not forget. It never did. Your name is still in those documents. It will be there long after everyone who loved you and everyone who feared you is gone. The system didn't just need monsters. It needed you.